Really bad news for Fat Joe. This man right here named TA is trying to ruin his career. And TA is offering to take a lie detector test to prove that all the accusations he's making against Fat Joe is 100% true. TA is a former entourage member of Fat Joe. His role within Fat Joe's enterprise differs depending on who you ask. Some people will say he was just a hype man. Others will say he was a runner. TA will say he wore multiple caps. He was an A&R, he was a hype man, he was an artist, he was a runner. So he did a lot of things for Fat Joe. However, along the way, TA started to feel like he was being underappreciated.
Looking at me, then we in City Island eating at JP's, and she's sitting right on the side of him. Before one time came out, he looked at me and was like, yo, don't get too big on me. I said, what you talking about? She was right there. She heard it. If she want to keep it real, bro, she will, bro. I know they loyalty is to Joe, but real is real. Truth is truth. The crook, look what he did to Liza Rios and her 3 little kids. Pump supposed to be his brother. He's a sucker. So if she want to keep it real, she can keep it real, bro. So he said, yo, don't get too big on me. I'm like, nigga hurt my heart, bro. I realized, I'm like, damn, yo, he's not going to let me win, bro. He's not going to let me come out, bro. All them times he's telling me, yo, there's no life outside of Terror Squad, that's what he's talking about.
This is not new. Rappers having people around them who believe that they're more talented than a rapper, who believe that they should have to shine, that the rapper is hating, trying to hold them back, that if the world just hear their music, man, the world gonna know they really the truth. Every rapper has a story like this. So it's nothing really new or special, but what's special about this TA and Fat Joe conflict is how far it has gotten. Because TA, his real issue with Fat Joe, he would claim Fat Joe hated on him, Fat Joe fired him, and Fat Joe owed him a lot of money from publishing. Obviously, this video isn't about publishing or who wrote what for who or who owed what money. This is a much darker video, and this is where the video takes a very dark turn. After coming out and speaking out against Fat Joe business practices, speaking out against Fat Joe being a hater, that really went ignored, to be honest. Like, I seen the interview did a couple thousand views, but nothing too crazy or nothing like too pressing that Fat Joe really had to respond back to. It kind of went unanswered, to be honest. So what we began to see is he began to take it up a notch. After he did the interview, it didn't really do nothing. He took the antics to Instagram. And when I say antics, I'm not trying to be demeaning or dismissive. I'm simply talking about he began to play the internet game. The interviews ain't work. He went to Instagram, and this is where he began to make some very serious accusations against Fat Joe. In this post, he would compare Fat Joe to Diddy, and he would also make a very serious accusation that Fat Joe flew out this chick called Nikki when she wasn't legal yet, and he flew her across state line and out the country to sleep with her. In this Instagram post, he reposted a video of a To Catch a Predator sting with the caption that stated, "Damn, homie, he even looked like Lil Joey. When you see him run out of there, you want 16-year-old Lil Joey. You are banned from being around girls who aren't legal." He would also say, when y'all see Lil Joey out in public, y'all have to chase him out of there. Lil Joey was dating and having intercourse with a 16-year-old girl named Nikki, aka Chiquita. He had a full-fledged relationship with her for 5 years. He didn't really post proof of any of this. He just kind of said it and expected us to take his word for it. And it was kind of unclear what the motive was exactly. Was he doing this because he wanted Fat Joe to give him something? Or was he just trying to expose Fat Joe because he hates him? I guess we still don't know. But he will continue. And quite possibly the most flagrant of the post, he would actually tag one of Fat Joe's sponsors. And he would write, does Market America knows they have a pedo as a spokesperson? And then they even tagged employees of the company that's giving Fat Joe money. We was at an event and Fat Joe wouldn't stop, but I will get to that later. Now, by wouldn't stop, he's insinuating that Fat Joe SA'd a woman at one of their events. None of these posts were going viral. Nobody really reposted it. But once he began to tag sponsors, that's when Fat Joe began to take notice and began preparing his defense to make sure that this stopped, that this ceased. Because even though the dude ain't really making noise, you don't know what type of effect he can have when he's tagging people who's giving you money, calling you a pedo. On this post, he tagged Fat Joe and says, Fat Joe, you asked me, do I take any accountability? Yes, I do. For watching you mess with young girls, but I was minding my business and playing my position. At the time, I was young myself, but didn't I ask, was you scared to deal with Chiquita? And what did you say? Stop moving around in the streets like you wasn't messing with a young girl. You going to continue to get this work, Joe. It's okay. You're a pedo. Go register. He didn't just stop at accusing Fat Joe of being a pedo. He would even accuse Fat Joe of being a snitch. This man put the holy trinity of accusations on Fat Joe. Accused Fat Joe of being a disloyal homie, a snake. Accused him of being a pedo. And then you also accuse him of being a rat? Yo, those are three accusations you can't possibly come back from in the streets. So luckily, Fat Joe ain't even in the streets no more. But still, if this is true, Fat Joe is one of like a top 5 most deployable rappers of all time. But we are still a long way from deciding whether or not this is true. But he would interview this guy who would claim that Fat Joe is the reason why he's behind bars and Fat Joe snitched on him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Jose Lazarus Moyet, aka Rays. This is Demigod. Pleasure to have you here today, Rays. Thanks for the interview.
It's a pleasure speaking with you.
So, what were you convicted of and sentenced to?
I was convicted of racketeering, drug trafficking, and 12 murders. I was charged with being the leader of the Nasty Boy organization in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. I was sentenced to 14 life sentences plus 205 years.
I have to ask, how authentic is this paperwork on Fat Joe?
I mean, what did you ask me? Did I sit in prison for 30 years and forge paperwork against someone who I don't know, who doesn't know me, and whose paths never cross? Look, Demigod, there are a lot of people who have never been in the feds, and so they are making comments without understanding anything. About 3 months ago, I was talking with someone who had just came off the streets, and he mentioned the paperwork on Joe. He said that he checked out all the names of the agents and the prosecutor, and they were legit. Now, with that said, why is it that others couldn't do this as well? What people don't know is that that statement comes from a proffer. For those who don't know what a proffer is it is when you give information to the feds. There are thousands of so-called gangsters running around in the streets who did a proffer, and we would never know this. There were literally hundreds of statements made against me. Many of them I didn't see until years later. Some I still haven't.
I have the paperwork too. If y'all want me to do a video on Fat Joe's paperwork, I can. To be honest, I have like a 10-year statute of limitation on snitching. After 10 years, I think your gangster card can reset, man, okay? If you the biggest, baddest killer, but you told in, let's say, 1985 and it's 2025, I think you can still represent as the biggest, baddest killer. You still gangster, okay? Past 10 years, I don't want to hear that snitching talk. But the dude was applying so much pressure on Fat Joe. Fat Joe had to strike first. Usually what we see is people like this will file their lawsuit first, but no. Dude was complicit with just exposing Fat Joe on Instagram. Now, Fat Joe filed his lawsuit, but only after Fat Joe got wind that TA was talking to Tyrone Blackburn. If you guys don't know who Tyrone is responsible for a lot of fraudulent lawsuits in the industry. He's the one who's representing Lil Rod. He, I think, was representing a lawsuit against academics. So, like, Tyrone Blackburn has sued dozens of celebrities. And I think in his last lawsuit, like, the federal judge actually put like a note or like a strike against them where it says, yo, you got to stop filing these fraudulent lawsuits, bro. Like, you're going to get barred. So this is a dude we're talking about. So when Fat Joe got wind that TA was talking to this dude who loves to sue celebrities, Fat Joe strikes first, and he filed a lawsuit against TA for defamation. In Fat Joe's lawsuit, he would highlight that TA was trying to extort him, that he was texting his associates telling them, yo, if Fat Joe don't pay up, if he don't tap in, I'm going to go public. So TA sent this to one of Fat Joe's friends, and he says, your fat friend clearly underestimated me, and I told him I will go all the way. This is what the newspaper is going to look like. Wow. His daughter is going to be real proud of him. I'm going to tag Jordan, Nike, CNN, the White House, the president, and the vice president, every major outlet. will have this. Now think about it. This just one. The countdown is on. Tell the fat man, be smart. I warned him before. Call me. Yo, do this man know that extortion is illegal? Like, there are more clever ways to get this done. But a plain text message in plain sight where you are clearly trying to extort this man, you're looking to go to jail. He sent this message to Fat Joe's manager where he's threatening to expose Fat Joe's wife, apparently to talk live about a threesome that Fat Joe's wife had when she cheated on him. He would say that she is a nasty scum. You know that, right? Your boss is a sucker. And then here's another message of him threatening to come public if Fat Joe don't give it up or Fat Joe don't tap in or call. And Fat Joe shouldn't be dumb. He should. So this appears to be all about money. This appears to be money motivated, bro. Bro was hanging around Fat Joe for a while. You know, he was eating. He thought this was his ticket to fortune and fame. It ain't work out. And it looks like he's seen the recent headlines where every celebrity is being sued for past transgressions. And he's trying to monetize whatever secret he has on Fat Joe. He's trying to monetize that. I feel like everyone who filed a lawsuit, they're filing a lawsuit for the bag. They're filing a lawsuit to get paid. So I'm not automatically going to dismiss allegations as false because the person is like asking for the money up front so they don't file a lawsuit. All this tells me is he's a garbage human being and he probably don't care about justice. He only cares about himself if he is telling the truth. Because if you're claiming that Fat Joe like is doing these things that no man should ever be doing, that Fat Joe committed like the ultimate sin in life, which is dealing with young girls, then you should be trying to hold him accountable. You should be trying to get him arrested, you know, or right, or have his feet held to the fire. But if that's not your goal, then it makes me think you're either a garbage human being or you are a liar. Fat Joe would also document the extortion attempts from the lawyer that TA has been dealing with, which is Tyrone Blackburn. This a lawyer that you don't ever want to be represented by, Brett. This guy is a scumbag. So Fat Joe would document and claim that Blackburn sent demand letters from March 23rd to April 21st of 2025, falsely claiming that TA was owed compensation for songwriting and adding baseless allegations of statutory rape, forced labor, egg trafficking, and fraud, that Blackburn threatened to file a lawsuit with these false claims and report Fat Joe to Homeland Security if he didn't pay. Again, this is the same blueprint for Lil Rod and Diddy. Now, he would claim that Blackburn demanded $20 million in a third letter, April 25th, 2025. Now, apparently this was like a 17 million increase. I'm assuming he either got new information that he believes would make Fat Joe want to settle, or he's just going by the principles of if we ask for 100, they might offer us 500,000. So he continues that apparently Blackburn sent late night emails with vague threats, including adding a RICO claim and suing Fat Joe business partners, which you would find out soon that he made well on his promise. Fat Joe also claimed that Blackburn falsely claimed to have verified allegations with witnesses, including an alleged young woman who denied speaking to him. The era of lawyers scaring public figures into settling these lawsuits, I think that era has came and went, bruh. I feel like the public figures are waking up and realizing that even settling the lawsuit is still going to look bad on you. It's going to make you look guilty. And they've realized, bruh, because after watching everybody get sued, literally everybody, including people like Jay-Z, after watching enough celebrities get sued, they're starting to realize, man, bro, the public backlash ain't gonna be that crazy. Like public backlash ain't $2.6 million worth of backlash. The public backlash that this is gonna get from this dude suing you ain't worth no 20 M's. It's just not worth $20 million. The worst is gonna happen is there's gonna be people who probably believe this. Those people probably never liked you in the first place. There's gonna be people who would never believe these things, and there's gonna be people in the middle who's gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna wait until the details come out. But the news headlines just go so fast that by next week, another big celebrity is gonna get sued, and we'll all forget about your lawsuit. Y'all remember when we thought the Shannon Sharp lawsuit was the biggest thing in the world? We haven't talked about it in a month. So the era of lawyers extorting these celebrities, I think it's over with. So Fat Joe filed his lawsuit instead of being extorted, and they responded back with their lawsuit, accusing Fat Joe of conducting egg trafficking, among other things, to fit under the RICO statute. Now, the only thing I really care about, to be honest, is the accusation that Fat Joe was messing with young women, which they provided their proof in their lawsuit, and we'll be discussing that shortly. Now, in his lawsuit that TA filed with Tyrone Blackburn, they accused Jay-Z, Rock Nation, and others of being a part of the Fat Joe enterprise that conducted criminal activities. If you guys want me to do a full deep dive into that, let me know. But let's just get to the allegations regarding the young women. He would allege that victim one was actually a 16-year-old Dominican residing in New York. In exchange for cash, clothing, and payment of her cell phone bill, defendant will get oral and other favors performed on, by the young woman. On one occasion, while driving in New York City, the young woman asked Fat Joe for money to pay for her cell phone. Fat Joe, being notoriously cheap, the defendant claimed to be broke. This upsetted the young woman, who began yelling, cursing, and screaming. Uh, Apparently, like, TA is claiming that he begged Fat Joe to pay for this chick's cell phone bill, which ultimately he did, which to me makes you a co-conspirator, bro. Like, which you already admitted that you were aware of this, but still, like, you ain't tell nobody, like, hey, bro, yo, this man be with hella young women, bro. Y'all need to step in. You just told him, hey, bro, pay the cell phone bill, man, make her happy, and then allow them to continue to do nasty things to her. I don't know, bro. Like, this lawsuit makes you look equally as bad. He claims there's a second victim. Apparently, this victim is Caucasian. The victim was 15, and according to TA, Fat Joe will fly this victim from New York to Miami to Florida on multiple occasions. He would also say that because the victim looked young, that Fat Joe essentially got them a BBL to make them look more developed, which to me is just nasty work. Now, the other victim, which is like minor doe 3, he will show pictures of them. I'm assuming this victim is no longer, you know, underage. This is from, like, it looks like the early 2000s, but he would show a picture of the quote unquote victim in high school at the time that they was being trafficked. Now, apparently they claim they spoke to this woman, but Fat Joe is claiming that this woman is denying ever speaking to them, and she's not willing to come forward whatsoever. And they would also drop down some lyrics from Fat Joe from a song called She My Mama. In this song, it would appear that Fat Joe is confessing to some heinous things. So in the song, Fat Joe raps, now she was only 16, I had to nurture that. Give her some growth. Waited till I touched the cat. Told she gonna have to work if she gonna get ahead. Then she drove me berserk when she gave me some head. She told me that she learned that from the flicks. I said, Miami, stop talking. Just suck on this dick. I ain't say her name yet, so let's say she nothing. Now watch me turn this nothing into something. Get it? Miami, get in the kitchen. This is free base. Just cook it till it's hard. So he's claiming that this is a confession to his story that Fat Joe was flying out this young woman from Miami and he got her a Brazilian butt lift. I don't know, bro. I don't feel like this is enough, to be honest. Those lyrics are very disturbing, but if he's saying I had to wait and nurture that, that could be assumed that he had to wait. I don't know, man. Rappers from that era had a lot of bizarre lyrics, including B.I.G. If I went through all of B.I.G. lyrics and took it, as literal facts, bro, then Big won't have a rap career, bro. We'll have to cancel Big immediately. But Fat Joe is denying that this is true. He's saying that this is all cap. This is an extortion attempt. He's not giving this guy money. He's disgruntled, et cetera, et cetera. So y'all let me know in the comment section. What do you guys think about this, man? Bro, I've seen so many celebrity lawsuits in the last year or so, bro, that I feel like I have like raised my bar for me to care about it, bro. Like, I have to really see some type of tangible evidence, tangible proof. I have to really see them being caught in 4K for me to take a celebrity lawsuit seriously, bro. Because I feel like these lawyers at this point, they realize that we're going to make this into a mass hysteria. They're going to be embarrassed. And they're banking on the rappers or celebrities being embarrassed, and fork over some cash so it goes away. So I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comment section. What do you guys think about this? All right, let me know, man. All right, and if you're still watching, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen, man, to find out how DJ Academics' war with LA just got worse. I'm gonna see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.